Hi there. Have you been paying attention? Are you listening closely? Can you feel them? The voices, the doubts, the insecurities. We all have them, men and women. And now, it's more evident than ever. We live in the 21st century, where 3.2 billion people use the internet. Facebook, it's the biggest social network worldwide, with over 2.6 billion users worldwide. It's easy to see now, this is a global problem. You close your eyes, and the thoughts come running. You feel isolated, lonely, unaccepted, unseen. And deep down in your heart, you know what the solution is. So, what is the solution? If you want to hear the public opinion, and if you ask the famous stars that are there today, whether they're on the internet or celebrities around you, what they're going to tell you is that you should just love yourself. And so my question is that the answer? Should we love ourselves? Is that what we're not doing? Loving ourselves? And if that is true, how can we love ourselves? How can you love yourselves? How can I love myself? Because we all go through pain. There's different kinds of pain, there's different sorts of pain, but we all go through pain. And no matter how big and no matter how small your pain and your struggle is, I want to tell you this, your pain is valid. Your pain is real. Whatever you're going through, your tears, they are real. No matter if the reason you're crying is silly or it's something very serious, those are still tears. So I want to ask you this. All of the songs today that are trying to tell us we should love ourselves more, trying to push us towards focusing more on ourselves and focusing more on trying to make ourselves feel good, is that really the answer to arrive to a better place in your life, to arrive at peace? Well, here's what I have to say about that. Look, in order to feel loved, you have to be loved. Or, in other words, in order to receive love, it has to be first given out. You see, love is like a circle, if you may. It's like I love how one author beautifully puts it. She says, Ellen White is her name, and she says that love is a circuit of beneficence. It's like a wave that goes out and then comes in, and then it goes out again and then comes into itself. It's a process of giving and receiving and giving and receiving. It's a circle that never breaks. Love has the capacity to grow eternally. It's one principle. It's that one thing that has the capacity in itself to grow eternally. Have you ever seen couples, 80-year-old couples that have been together and that have been in love with each other for more than 50 years? And have you ever seen them take a walk or be in a park and hold each other's hands and look at each other and you can see love. You can see love in their eyes, and you might think to yourselves that how did this go on for 50 years? How were they together? And I'm sure that there are more than one examples of successful relationships out there in the world. And so love is only received after it's given out. So if you and I are talking about loving ourselves, if I have to love myself in order to be more secure, in order to feel more secure or have more strength in myself, I have to love myself. But that is a lot confusing to me. Because how can I be receiving love and giving love at the same time? We're talking about two people here. There's a giver and then there's a receiver. And that's the reason why you have on this beautiful planet not a single person, but you have a multitude of people and relationships and communities who are trying to strive together. They're trying to live together. We're getting through this together, and we get through pain together. Have you ever heard the term a shoulder to cry on? You've heard that before, haven't you? A shoulder to cry on. Do you have a shoulder you can cry on when you're going through pain, when you're struggling, when you're not believing in yourself, when you do not have enough hope to even get through a single day? Do you have someone to open up with? Do you have someone you can share with? Someone who you can trust and someone who you can hold? You see, I understand pain and I understand struggle just like you do. I know what it feels like to go through pain. And I know that when we are in those situations, it feels like every inch of joy and peace that was in our life, it's not there anymore. It's very difficult to be positive. It's very difficult to feel secure. It's very difficult to feel protected. And in those times, you feel like an empty well. You feel like a dried up well under the heat of the sun. You feel empty, you feel wounded, and you feel like nobody sees you. I have a text that I want to read to you that is very relevant to what we are discussing right now. Allow me to read it with you. It's a text that is familiar to many people. It's found in Psalm 23, one of the Psalms that was written by David. And David says, he's talking about how in his times of trouble, he has found his Lord to be his shepherd. And he speaks about how he has led him into green pastures and restored his soul and led him in the paths of righteousness. And he also talks about his experience of going through the dark valleys and going through those hard times and where he feels like there was a shadow of death. But he says that even when I was walking through those valleys, I feared no evil because his Lord was there to comfort him. But I want to talk about this specific verse that has spoken to me, and I believe that it will speak to you as well. It's the second part of verse 5 in Psalm 23. It says, "You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows." Those two sentences over there are very powerful. If you can take these and make them very personal for you. It says, "You anoint my head with oil." Just a little bit of context here. David says here that the Lord is my shepherd, and he's talking about himself and us right now to be the shepherd's sheep, because he says, "You lead us into green pastures," just like a shepherd leads his sheep into green pastures. If you have ever spent time with sheep or seen sheep, these are just most amazing animals, but at the same time, they're very silly as well. There's more than one occasions where sheep would go astray, and many times in these occasions the sheep would hit their head on a rock or bump into something, and even sometimes beat would try to start eating their heads and they would be wounded. In these occasions, what the shepherd would do is take oil and pour it onto the head of the wounded sheep and clean the head and tend to the wound. So that's why David understands this whole scenario when he's saying, "You anoint my head with oil." He's talking about a restoration process. He's talking about a healing process because the sheep is wounded. And what he says after that is so profound. He says, "My cup overflows." Imagine yourself as a cup, and imagine that if you're feeling empty right now, you feel like you haven't been loved, you don't have enough love to give, and you feel like you're empty and you're dried out. Here's an example of David. Doesn't that make you want that and desire that? Imagine living in a situation where you're always filled with joy, where you're always filled with love and kindness and compassion. Wouldn't that be amazing? So how can you and I attain that? You know, I don't know about you. as you are going to make your decision. But let me tell you about myself. My experience has been similar to David. I felt like an empty cup, like a dried up well, like there was no joy and no hope, nowhere to run to. And in those situations, I have found God to be there by my side. Imagine a stream of water so big that it could fill you and refill you and refill you and fill you again, and you're empty and it fills you again till eternity. A never-ending stream of love, of joy, of acceptance. You know what that feels like? It is the most amazing feeling in the world. It cannot be matched to any pleasure that is found in this world. None. The Bible says God is love. And when God's love enters into the depths of our soul, there is so much love in us. We feel so loved that love pours out of us and the cup starts overflowing. There's so much love. That is the experience that I desire for you. That is the kind of experience that I desire for my family, for my loved ones, for all my friends, and for myself. We cannot love ourselves because we cannot give to ourselves what we do not have in the first place. To receive love, we have to be loved. And God has loved us. He has loved us from the beginning. Dear friend, find peace in knowing that God is always going to be there for you. He's present for you in this moment, right now, right here. All He wants to do is relieve you of your pain, to save you, and to give you an everlasting peace. And now the question is, would you allow that to happen? Hello everyone, thank you for watching that video. My name is Evangelist Zeerick Sherial and you're watching A4U Television, which means agape love for you. On this YouTube channel, we're talking about the agape love of God and what it means for us and what that can mean for you. I hope you're enjoying these videos as they come out. Please subscribe to our channel, turn on the notifications so you're notified about any video that does come out, and like, share, and comment, and come back for more. Thank you and God bless you. I'll see you another time.